we also need to be really specific about what kinds of content, how it's created, how it's published, where it's published, how it's distributed, all of that jazz. That has a huge impact on how we perform in AI, specifically how the LLMs bring our brand to fruition in the context of users. The other challenging thing for us when thinking about content creation is that you're optimizing towards questions, no longer towards keywords, right? Keywords are out the window now. Now we're talking about 60% questions.
60% of searches don't result in a click, something like that.
Exactly,
right?
So we're in the zero-click environment.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Ad Podcast, broadcasting to you from the Possible Show here in beautiful Miami. We've got Peter Sloterdyk, the CMO of Gist, here to chat with us a little bit about Possible and what he's up to. Thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me.
So tell us about yourself and what do you guys do at Gist?
Sure. So Peter Sloterdyk, Chief Marketing Officer, you already gave all that good context. Gist is a brand visibility platform focused on both organic optimization and paid amplification in the context of AI.
Okay, awesome. And then, so when you talk about organic, are you talking about social mainly?
GEO, thinking about Generative Engine Optimization. So the path from SEO to GEO, that's a big conversation in our community right now. And so we have a GEO product that handles the organic optimization side of the equation, and then we also have a number of ad products that handle the paid amplification side. And the idea there is, just like it was with search and social for ever so long, paid and organic work more effectively together than they do on their own.
Yeah, interesting. So, we're kind of moved to this new economy where the algorithm gets a vote now.
Sure.
It's not necessarily about how many followers you have. It doesn't matter how big your audience is. That's true of a brand, but that's also true of creators
Absolutely.
now. So essentially, brands need a lot of at-bats to kind of test things. So how do you give them better opportunities to look at the marketplace, look at their potential audiences, and make more informed decisions about the content that they create, the way that they go to market in that content creation?
Absolutely. So I think what's really interesting about our GEO product in particular is, yes, we've got the scorecard just like a number of the products do, thinking about how you're currently doing today. But then the recommendations that we provide are very specific and prioritized based on impact. Mm-hmm. And the idea there is, specifically to your question around what kinds of content should brands be creating, yes, volume is a part of it. Volume is a necessary component. You're right, we need multiple at-bats to make sure that we are showing up in the right way in the right places at the right time. But we also need to be really specific about what kinds of content, how it's created, how it's published, where it's published, how it's distributed, all of that jazz. That has a huge impact on how we perform in AI, specifically how the LLMs bring our brand to fruition in the context of users. The other challenging thing for us when thinking about content creation is that you're optimizing towards questions, no longer towards keywords, right? Keywords are out the window now. Now we're talking about
60%
questions.
60% of searches don't result in a click, something like that.
Exactly.
Right?
So we're in the zero-click environment, and the biggest challenge I think for brands is trying to figure out what we're optimizing towards. There's 75 different ways you can ask. A user can ask one question, and so what version of that question are we optimizing towards, and how are we ensuring that
like
the LLMs
question optimization versus keyword optimization?
It's exactly that. And we're also thinking about it on the paid side, where our consumers are now thinking in questions, in conversation. They're not thinking in keywords anymore.
Yeah.
And so from a paid point of view, thinking about how do we show up for the right questions in the right moment, in the right context, all of that jazz. So the same principles apply, we're just talking about a new environment.
Is paid still only Google, or does ChatGPT ads matter yet?
Yeah.
I don't know if I can say they matter or don't matter. I'm not necessarily going to take a position on that, but I can tell you that we're all in the experimentation phase, right? What does paid advertising look like in the context of AI? That's one question, specifically like the OpenAI test. How is that going? We have more information to gather there, but we also have to look at a broader spectrum of the advertising environment, thinking about where can I leverage AI, where can AI make me more efficient, better, so on and so forth, on the buying, placement, and targeting side of things, but also how am I leveraging AI to create my advertising, so that's AI enablement. And then the last part is AI targeting, thinking about how do I reach that right audience. So there's a bunch of components that didn't exist before. Our media landscape got a lot more complex.
So some of the things that I've heard people throw around as potential optimizations are like PRs, again, very, very important.
Huge.
It's like PR firms are having like a renaissance again amongst
Absolutely.
which is awesome.
Yep.
I'm quite a fan of PR firms since I started.
You and me both.
Started in PR and work with a lot of PR people in the publishing space now. but then also things like YouTube Shorts for Gemini, and then you have to think about different things for different platforms. Also, I've heard like writing in a way that uses less tokens because it's all about economics when you come down to the final. At the end of the day, these queries cost money.
Concise and efficient.
So concise and efficient. But anything that you guys are seeing kind of on the horizon that are maybe optimization opportunities that aren't kind of in the mainstream yet?
So you talked about you kind of hit on 2 key points for me when I think about content optimization in the context of AI. The first is on the sentiment side. The reason PR firms are having a renaissance, and deservedly so, is because sentiment is now one of the most important components for the LLMs.
Okay.
They are weighting sentiment 60, 70, 80% of the decision-making process for the LLMs.
Sentiment is essentially third-party endorsement.
How people feel about your brand, about your product, about your position.
That aren't you.
That aren't you. Exactly. And so whether you're talking about journalists and the content that they're writing, whether you're talking about social, influencers, all of that has a point of influence on the LLMs driving sentiment. Reddit is a huge source of sentiment for the LLM, so that's really important.
Reddit's notoriously hard to gain.
You can't gain it, right?
It's pretty much
which is
impossible.
great.
Yeah.
Like, it's fantastic.
It's like they created a true anti-spam methodology where the moderators are essentially their own police, and then up and down votes kind of,
the name of the game, right?
Like good things rise to the top.
100%. And good things as defined by the community, not by the brands, not by the moderators even, right? As defined by the community. So sentiment is a huge piece of the puzzle. The second thing that you hit on there is thinking about content optimization and what kinds of content should we be thinking about. It's really the concise piece of the puzzle. Yes, that's an important factor, but YouTube is a great example. YouTube Shorts or things that are very long on YouTube, both are options. YouTube was, before we ever started talking about LLMs, before we even started talking about AI visibility, etc., YouTube was built for LLMs. The structured data, the way that platform is literally structured is perfect for the LLMs. Ditto for Reddit. Both of them are fantastically built, kind of unintentionally, for AI.
Upvotes, downvotes, watch time equals relevance, long descriptions with backlinking strategies.
The way the data is structured, exactly. And so YouTube is this fantastic source of content, and any brand
almost like they had a plan.
Almost like they had a plan. And it's not just Gemini, right? It's not. YouTube is great for all of the platforms, not just for Gemini. It's particularly great for Gemini, but not only that. And so any brand that's not on YouTube or it has let their YouTube strategy fall to the wayside because of prioritization and it's challenging to do it all, has to revisit that immediately because it's a necessary component.
Yeah, interesting. All right, so let's talk about Possible a little bit. What are you guys doing this week to stand out? Obviously, tons of people here, tons of companies that are talking about your domain and expertise. What do you do at a show like Possible as the CMO to make sure that you guys get the share of the attention that you deserve and want?
Not to be that guy, but I'm mostly here on a listening tour.
Okay, cool.
So visibility is really important. But I will say for me and for Just, we're a Series B startup. We are at the beginning of our journey. We are reaching into the community in a one-to-one way. And so a big part of what we're doing here is the one-to-one conversations.
Cool.
And usually a lot more listening than talking in that experience. What are people experiencing? What problems can we help them solve, etc. We have a couple of activation sponsorships. We're doing a panel tomorrow, which I'm really excited about. The title of the panel is From SEO to GEO, and getting into that subject matter is something I really am passionate about and enjoy talking about. And so, yes, we have a couple of activations that we're taking advantage of, but mostly we are here to listen and take in information and do as much of the one-to-one conversation as possible.
Interesting. So, early days so far, as far as we're halfway through day one, but anything sparking to the top of your attention meter where you're like, this is something I definitely want to take back to the team?
So, I think the conversations that I'm participating in and hearing most of right now are less now. I think if this conference had happened 6 months ago, we'd be talking mostly about AI enablement. Now we are talking about, okay, great, we've kind of figured out, or we think we've figured out some version of AI enablement. Now we're talking about AI visibility.
And Agentic seems to be
Agentic is a big conversation.
This year too.
But Agentic is a great example of, it's a buzzword. Some people know what it means. A lot of people don't.
Yeah, totally.
Agentic
It's like-
shopping, agentic search, agentic engagement,
Yeah, it's
agentic
like the
commerce
idea
protocol.
that a bot will do something on your behalf with your endorsement. Is that
Exactly.
You don't know exactly what it's doing.
And as a marketer, what do I do with this?
Right, yeah.
Like, how do I activate? So yes, there's a lot of curiosity moving away from AI enablement and into new arenas of AI. Visibility and agentic marketing and agentic engagement are two.
Or
big
agentic
reasons.
interfaces, like
Correct.
being able to, everybody wants their platform to be prompt-based now.
Absolutely.
And
It's our expectations as
Yeah, it's
consumers.
like you need to be able to talk to your data. Essentially.
Absolutely.
Okay, so if folks want to continue to follow along and stay up to speed with the thought leadership that you guys are putting out, and
Appreciate the plug.
where do you want to send folks
Absolutely.
to connect with you directly or continue to learn?
For sure, gist.ai is our website, and it's where all of the information you can find is. All of our thought leadership is there. Contact us forum. We'd love to hear from you. We're doing a lot of testing and learning with our partners right now, and that has been so educational for both parties. So would really encourage you. We don't have spend minimums. We don't have we've got really accessible product on the GEO side. So please come check us out. We'd love to talk to you.
Amazing. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
it.